Who's oppressing you? Expecting Israel. The Palestinian Authority. This is what pisses me off about what our government just done. Yeah, it's insane, yeah? But the Palestinian Authority. So I said, what do you mean the Palestinian Authority? How are they oppressing you? He said, never give, and this is a fourth generation Muslim, never give money to free Palestine. Yeah? He said, doesn't come to us. It goes for weapons. Yeah. And I'm standing there thinking, right. And then he said that, did you know, so the Palestinian Authority, so when this lady or this man leaves this camp and stabs an Israeli, that's what he said, and they get paid a lifelong money for the family. So every month they get money from the Palestinian Authority for the rest of their lives.
The truth will always stand. Now that the Gaza war is at a ceasefire that has been violated by Hamas already within days, it is time to reflect on the last 2 years and to reflect on the lies that the media has fed us and the propaganda and the myths that Hamas kept on producing that have absolutely zero factual basis. And let's talk about the word genocide, that they seemed to have decided to use that to depict of what has been going on in this war, which is completely not true, a lie and a myth. So let's listen to Tony Robinson as he explains us of what this myth, how it came about, and how untrue it is. Let's watch it together and then we'll discuss it afterwards. Kindly subscribe to our channel so a little bit of light will push away a lot of darkness.
How many people right now in Britain and across the world, through a massive propaganda campaign, believe that Israel is committing genocide? They actually believe it. Yeah? The figures are fucking ridiculous. It's a joke. It's a joke if you actually look at the figures, look at the demographical change in Gaza. It's the only population in the world that's gone up by 10. Even the Muslim population, the Arab Muslim population in Israel, which people just don't have a clue. There's 2 million Muslims comfortably, happily living in Israel that are part of government, that are part of the judges, that are Supreme Court, but no one knows that, yeah? Because there is a mass campaign to tell everyone Israel's an apartheid state and there's genocide.
Well, you know, when we're in Israel, I spend quite a bit of time there for work and also family. Where every morning, where I wake up near Jaffa, you hear the muezzin in the street. I don't hear that here. That Israel, Tel Aviv, there is the mosque down the road. Everyone is getting along fine there, and it's actually, I would say, more integrated.
No, it works better than here. I went to Israel, and when I went to Israel,
2016, right?
2016, yeah. And I went there on a search mission because I thought I talk about these issues a lot, yeah. What do I actually know? I haven't been to Israel. So when I went there, I went to a Fatah-controlled refugee camp in Bethlehem. So, and I risked my life doing that. It was pretty stupid probably now I think about it. But I paid some young Muslims in Israel that I met. I said, right, I want to get into the refugee camp. And I went with my friend from school. There's pictures of us. He's a black lad. There's pictures of us when they say I'm a Zionist because I'm wearing the kippah near the Wailing Wall. But I'm with my mate. We're just my mate from school. And he likes history, yeah? And we grew up together. And so I said, come to Israel. And when we went to Israel, I was like, right, I've sorted it. We're going to go, because you know when you go to Israel, there's do not go past here. There's all these big signs, the danger zones. Well, I just went and thought, I want to go there. I want to go in there and see what's going on. So I paid these young Muslims, went into, and as we're in the taxi, I'm sitting there, but me and my mate had a big argument because he pulled me up before it. He said, I ain't come here to get killed. Oh, what the fuck are you doing? He said, I'm coming here to see history, not go to a terrorist camp. I was like, but I said, mate, because we were doing the Jewish side. So I said, but we have to hear their side. Yeah. So if we get in there, and I did say to him at the time, I said, Dean, if we get in there, yeah, and we spend a day there, it's going to be the best experience, right? Trust me. Let's just go and try it. And as we're doing it in the car, as we're driving in, I'm thinking, what the fuck? Then I'm sitting there and I'm sending messages, I'm doing videos thinking, what the fuck am I doing? What am I actually doing? But I met this 4th generation Muslim lad and he was lovely. And I related with him more than I related with anyone I met on that trip. Yeah, you could have picked him up out of where he was and put him into Luton, and he was the same upbringing. We were the same. It seemed like we were the same. And as I'm walking around this refugee camp, I'm looking at all the sides of the houses, saying, "Who's that?" And he said, "Oh, she's a martyr. She blew up the bus." But what I couldn't believe was that each of these families, so she lived in that house. He lived in that house. He lived in that house. All the murals on the walls, the terrorists martyrs, as he called them, the terrorists lived in those houses. So then as I'm walking along, I'm thinking, right, I said, so who's oppressing you? Expecting Israel. The Palestinian Authority. This is what pisses me off about what our government just done. Yeah, it's insane, yeah? But the Palestinian Authority. So I said, what do you mean the Palestinian Authority? How are they oppressing you? He said, never give, and this is a fourth generation Muslim, never give money to free Palestine. Yeah? He said, it doesn't come to us. It goes for weapons. Yeah. And I'm standing there thinking, right. And then he said that, did you know, so the Palestinian Authority, so when this lady or this man leaves this camp and stabs an Israeli, that's what he said, and they get paid a lifelong money for the family. So every month they get money from the Palestinian Authority for the rest of their lives. So then I looked at my mate and I'm thinking, I've got 3 kids, Dean's got kids. We always hear in the UK that the route to extremism is poverty. Yeah? I said, where's the football pitch here, bruv? He said, there's no football pitch. I said, where's the park? He said, there's no park. And I was playing football with all the kids. There's videos of it. I'm playing football with the kids. We're just in the street. They're all running around. My heart bled for those kids, yeah? And I thought, well, I'm a dad. So the only way you get out of this camp, yeah, is if you go stab someone, that then you get rewarded by the Palestinian Authority.
Well, actually, I interviewed, in an interview like this, a brilliant woman called Anat Burko, who is a criminologist. She has had a career going into Israeli jails to meet terrorists who are in jail, failed suicide bombers or dispatchers, and so many of them
Done it for this.
actually go into jail to get a better education, because in the Israeli jails, they can get high school, they can get degrees. And so she writes, she made quite good bonds with them. You know, she didn't befriend them, but she got their confidence. She talked with them. And it's really interesting. I'll send you the video because it's very interesting how she talks about it. So I think there is an element of wanting to escape from that.
But the only way you can escape is to, and when he said go stab an Israeli, yeah, and I said, so if you go stab a Jew, and he kept correcting me. He said, no, stab an Israeli. And I said, what do you mean stab an Israeli? So it doesn't matter if it's a Jew or a Muslim. I was like, what? So you can go and kill it, which is what they done on October 7th. Bedouins got killed. They just went on a massacre. But so I said, so you can leave this camp. And it just threw my whole head. Like, because I always thought it was jihad. I thought every element of it was jihad. But then I started looking and thinking, well, these men are just mercenaries. These men are just being financially rewarded to go stab someone from Israel to get their family out of this poverty-stricken 4th, 5th generation. Like the lad says, I'm a 4th generation refugee. My children will be 5th, his will be 6th, theirs will be 7th. We're never leaving this camp. And he said, because it works, and it does work, because I left that camp wanting to give them money. Yeah. So he said, they bring Western politicians here, they walk them around this place, they look at the oppression, yeah. But he didn't mention Israel once. All was about the Palestinian Authority. So then I went and started looking up the Palestinian Authority. Who funds the Palestinian Authority? We do, British taxpayers' money. I couldn't believe it. Who have we just recognised and give a state? We've just recognised the Palestinian state for the Palestinian Authority. So the people in charge of now the state that the British government recognise and fund are the people paying people to go and kill people. You couldn't make it up. I went on this fact-minding mission to Israel. When I got back to Israel after this, I sat the gentleman down with cameras on him. I felt terrible, yeah? But I sat him down and said, can I tell you who I am? And he was like, what? And I said, have you heard of the English Defence League? He said, yeah. I said, so my name's Tommy. I'm founder of the English Defence League. And he was like, he was upset, visibly upset, but he said, why? Why would you have done this? I said, because I had to hear your story, bruv. I had to hear your story. And I wanted to hear your story. And then as I'm in Israel, so on the way back, we're going, there's 1,000 young Arabs, yeah? 1,000 young Arabs. There's someone with a Kalashnikov machine gun. I've got an I Love Israel t-shirt on, yeah? So I said, pull over. And the Arabs are racing camels. So I said, pull over the car. So we pull over the car and I get out and I video and I think, right, Trump had just got elected, yeah? So I think, let's see, I'm thinking someone's going to go mad at me and say stuff about my t-shirt. No one give a shit. No one batted an eyelid. So as I went over and I'm talking to them all about Trump, they all love Trump. Yeah? They said, America strongman. This is all the Muslims. We need America strongman. And then I'm asking them, and as we're doing this, there's Jewish families having a picnic. Yeah. So there's 1,000 young Arab Muslim men and Jewish families having a picnic. You couldn't do that in London. Okay? You couldn't visibly have Jewish families sitting having a picnic with 1,000 young Pakistani men, because that family will be getting shit. Yeah. Now that's a fact. Whereas in Israel, so I thought, well, this works better than in the UK.
And this is what Mr. Tony Robinson has experienced himself personally when he was in Israel. And really realizing with the neighbors, the Arabs that are living there, and what they are forced to do in order to earn a living. And this topic has come up before, that many people don't know that the Palestinian Authority has a pay for slay program, which is beyond what any of us could appreciate or understand. It's that when someone goes and stabs an Israeli, regardless if they're Arab or Israeli or Jewish, they get compensated for life. And the more people you kill, the more people you hurt, the more you get compensated. And here we have millions, if not billions of dollars that are supposed to be compassionate dollars and other currencies going to support the Palestinians, but yet it's going to pay for slaying. So it is such a complicated and difficult way for us to comprehend a whole different psychology, a whole different faith system and belief system, when we in the West, we're obsessed with life. Our journey is about how can we bring life to the world, and how can we sustain life and prolong life and promote life as much as possible, versus dealing with a death cult who only understands death and dark. It's so different. But again, Mr. Robinson went to debunk and to demyth the word genocide. The history of the name of genocide actually was coined after the World War II, when Hitler committed the genocide by trying to eradicate all Jewish people. 6 million were targeted of a specific group for a specific purpose, to eradicate them. That is where the name genocide entered into the World Dictionary. And as Mr. Robinson mentioned, in Gaza, there was no genocide, absolutely, unequivocally. As a matter of fact, the population didn't diminish since the war has happened. Yet there are the terrorists that were killed, and that happens during war, but there's absolutely no genocide ever happened. It was just another blood libel, another opportunity for the world to point the fingers on Israel and say, look at committing genocide. You know who did genocide? October 7, when Hamas breached the border of Israel, of a sovereign country, the only democracy in the Middle East, and butchered, killed, murdered, raped, beheaded, decapitated 1,200 innocent citizens. That is a genocide. But yet the world is siding with the bloodthirsty death cult Hamas and condemning Israel for trying to defend itself. By now, the truth is already coming out. Every peace deal that has been on the table, Israel abided by. This final peace deal, when miraculously the 20 live hostages returned home, are reunited with their families, Hamas already broke their peace deal. They are already out on the streets executing. 35 Palestinians were executed. But there is no outcry from the world, no condemnation from the United Nations. This is the double standard that we've been dealing with throughout the war. But hopefully, finally, by now, the truth will hold, the truth will stand, and the world would help us eradicate this evil from amongst us, because Israel is fighting the war for the world, not just for Israel. We are fighting, we're getting our hands dirty, we're losing our young men and women. We lost 950 soldiers in this war trying to eradicate this evil from the world. So hopefully the world would appreciate and salute and support Israel for what it's doing for them. God bless you. God loves you.